going on, everybody? Hit pause back for the next part of this tutorial. And in this part I wanted to fix up the mag, and then I wanted to do this scope now, and probably hopefully the bullet. The thing about the mag is that I kind of forgot about it, I'll be honest with everybody, and that happens. And given that that happened, I've saved these out already, right, these channels, and I've got them kind of like locked in here, you know, with some edits and stuff, and I've already saved it. And I don't want to overwrite that work. So what I'm actually going to do is clone this as a copy, and I'm going to call this mag paint. Okay, so I'm just going to isolate the mag out of this guy. So I'm going to select the mag, hit Control I, and delete it. Okay, and if I isolate this guy, here's just the mag. Okay, and I'm going to export this. Go to OBJ, and I think because I named stuff the same name, I kind of messed up. So, or I should have named it HuntingRifle MB or something like that. Okay, so we're going to call this HR, not high res, HRifle mag to paint. Okay, we'll just save that. Boom. Export. Done. Alright. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make a new scene. Yeah, I'll go ahead and save. And what I want is the mag only. Okay. So this will allow me to export a second set of stuff that I can just kind of interject into my Photoshop file for my main diffuse. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to subdivide this thing. Come on, click it. Okay. Pretty high, so that I'm looking at quite a few segments. Okay. And now I can pretty much paint using my paint tools here with a pretty dark color. Let's just get a base layer. It needs to be the same size. Okay, you can see I can paint on here fine. It's looking like dots because I have a high spacing. If I get rid of that, you can see it's looks okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and flood it. Okay, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to make a new layer called Edges. I'm going to use my stamp with randomization, but I'm going to keep a pretty low spacing. And I'm just going to go over, now I don't have a lot of resolution, so I can't go too crazy. So maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. Just want to go over the edges of the metal parts. Okay, I still have plastic and metal here. I don't care if I miss because I'm going to flood that with void. Okay, things like this I want to fill in. Okay, I do want my strength up, by the way. And I'm just scrubbing along this here. Okay, and then these corners. Now I want to blend this a little bit. Okay, I want to get these. All right, so that's a alright edge treatment. I'm going to go ahead and lower my strength a little bit, increase the size of my brush. And just lightly go across right here. Okay. Real light in the corners. Okay, so just kind of blend that out like that. Do a little bit here. All right, I think about happy with that, and then just just add a few things here and there, just a couple of splotches, semi-splotches. Okay. Nah, and then a little bit up here. Very big brush, very light touch. Okay, so kind of scuffed in a sense. All right. Now I'm going to do these scratches. So hit 2, go to my stencil, find my scratches stamp. Move over here, you piece of shit. There we go. And use tiles, shrink that down. Again, I don't have a ton of resolution for this. Given that, I'm going to keep it relatively light. And sometimes what I like to do is come up nice and big on the stamp and just do some of these details I can add to like my corners here. Okay, just to add some little bit of magic to that. All right, and then one or two of these, like, longer bits here and there at a larger scale. Honestly, I could just, you know, kind of blanket it. Actually, I should be using a hard fall off for this too. And I'm doing these vertical ones because of, you know, the constant feeding in and out of the chamber thing. Okay, so it's just got, you know, some actual use scuff kind of stuff. Okay, looking all right. And against the base, I mean, I don't even have any specular on here yet, and it already looks pretty used and worn out, so it's good. Okay. The bottom is going to have, actually, I think what I want to do here on the scratches, let's see, scratches and edges. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a layer called plastic. Okay, and I'm going to paint on this guy, not using a stamp, full color, but I'm going to go something really stupid. And I'll show you guys why. All right. What that does is lets me see where my plastic is here quite clearly without even really having to look. All right, there it is, and that's the final color. No, now all I got to do is take this, right click. Oh wait, what am I doing? Right clicking here, adjust color, saturation, value. Okay, it's done. Yay! But before I do that, let's do plastic bump. Okay, let's go back to our stencils and let's get our noise. And come here. This is acting weird. And basically, just throw this noise on here. Okay. We'll move that. Actually, I'm not even going to move anything because I don't need to be honest. Okay, I'm going to make a new layer called void. And again, actually, okay. All right. So I do Alt T and then I hit A. All right. There's my void. And I want to go ahead and make that solid black. Okay, I need my bump. And I'm just going to delineate. Let's zoom way out and find the center here. So I just move it and keep rotating till I can find the one that's in the middle. It's this one here. So now I can kill tiles. Okay, here's that. And I'm gonna make a new layer here called base spec. Okay. Make that with white. Use my stamp. Use a large spacing and a relatively large brush. And I'm just going to blast over this whole thing. I can actually do the whole thing. I got layers to block it now. I got the plastic layer and the void, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, and then what I want to do is actually trim out a little bit of the middle. Okay, and if I wanted to, I could hold a really hard brush. I could press it down really hard and then trim that out a little bit, just in a couple of spots like that, and then slightly fill it back in. Okay, and that gives me a few little sharp edges, which can actually help. Does actually come in handy sometimes. Oops, wrong color. There's nothing stopping you from using other shapes either, by the way. You get quite a different look from any kind of shape. For instance, circle dots, you know, you get a little bit more of like a slightly more manufactured kind of look in a sense. I mean, it's up to you. I don't like it, but there's more than one type of shape that you can actually use. If you could do veins if you wanted to. I wouldn't exactly do that, but for flesh, you can do that. It's pretty good. I tend to use this one. Sometimes maybe this one. This one can be handy. It's a little bit more feathered, as you can see. I'm even pushing hard and I'm still getting some softness to the whole thing. I mean, if you can do shapes and splotches and things like that, where you kind of further delineate a a very specific type of bump, impact, scrape, scratch, smack, bonk, whatever you want to call it. That should be good. I mean, that's like better than good, I think. Like it could have been done a while ago. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying it's better than when it was done. That doesn't even make any sense either. Better than when it was done. It's now officially done, so all right. No dirt on it, by the way. Okay, so let's export channel to PSD, and we're going to call this HRifle mag, and we'll call this layers. And there we go. And now we've got quite a whole bunch of layers that we can use. So let's see, what do we got? We got a base spec. Our base color, I actually want to be black. Our edges are white. You can see those are there. Our scratches are white. You see those are there. Our plastic is the wrong color. So I say Control U, saturation. Pull that down to about 82. Plastic bump goes to about 10%, like normal. Void is solid black. And bump gets that treatment. So I'm going to have to remake the normal map. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. So what I can do is this. I can make a normal map here. So let's get plastic bump and bump. And before I do that, though, I want to be on 50% gray. So it's going to hold Control to click the rest of these and Control Alt Shift E. And I'm going to go filter and height to normals. Continue. Okay, and then I think this is where I have everything here. Yep. So I can take that here. Actually, no. Where is my spec channel? I don't need that anymore. Here's the HuntingRifle NM. Okay, I don't need this reflection anymore. So I want to take this and stick that here. Okay, and I need to do the same thing to blend this in. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with me doing more than one normal map at a time. So I'll take this one and I'll make this one my overlay. And I'll take this one and make this one my multiply. And so that one goes to multiply, that one goes to overlay, and you can see it's added in, including everything. So good stuff. TGA, HuntingRifle NM, so I'm in the right spot. 24 beat. Okay. So these, actually what I'll do is I'll take them all, move them here. Actually I'll move them underneath my background layer like so. You can see there's the mud box background. Okay, base specular. So that means that this needs to actually go to black edges. and scratches and plastic and void. Okay. Now what I can do is I can go to, this might be a little weird. Okay, so I'm going to take all of these and control click that, and I'm going to actually, before I do that, hide this layer, take all of these and control Alt Shift and E. Nope, I need to hide this layer. I need transparency. That's all I'm screwing up. Hold Control, come over here and click this. Hit M to get this. Come over here, hold Shift and let go. Go to my channels, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that in black. Just wipe it out. Okay, and now I'm going to come to here. I'm going to show this. Go to my channels, control click here, bring that back over, and now I'm just hit Control H so I can see that this works out properly, and I'm going to hold Control and hit backspace to fill with my background color. And there we go. That's it. That is pretty much all I needed to do. (32-bit) to keep my alpha, and I'm good. Alright, next I want to do the scope. Let's just check the unwrap. Okay, the one thing I do want to do to the scope before I paint on it is if I accidentally touch this with my paint, it's gonna like splatter it all over my whole model because the way that this is unwrapped. So I'm gonna clone it first. I'm gonna call this scope to paint. Okay, let's isolate that. And what I want to do is take the lenses and basically get them out of the way so that they'll have like hardly any resolution, but it won't matter if I accidentally paint on them. Okay, so they'll look like crap, but it doesn't make a difference. It's only looking like crap here, and you can see it's very low resolution. So HuntingRifle scope to paint. Alright, let's go to Mudbox, close. I'm going to save this as mag paint fixes. Get rid of the OBJ. Alright, we'll do a new scene. Open, 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 and scope to paint. Okay, let's check our options. We're good. So Shift D, 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 D from Dexter's Laboratory, and then Shift D again. Hopefully that allows us good painting now. Okay, let's stick with the 2048s. Nope, painting is terrible, as you can tell. If I get rid of the stamp image and I use a softer fall off, you can see what I'm getting. Okay, nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Not nice and smooth. See that? Character shot. So, let's fix it. Okay, that's all I really need to do. I might as well do that here as well, so I don't get any of those weird issues. Just connect one here and here. Okay. Go to my object list, delete that. Okay, now without even subdividing it, you see? Get a little bit of funkiness, but I think once I do subdivide it, that will go away, and it does. Nice and smooth. This kind of stuff should be fine. These are relatively wide and flat. A little weird there, but so like I said, Mudbox being a great program, not perfect, not perfect. I'm curious. See what the F happened there, you know? I'm curious. The one program that I'm curious about is Substance Painter. I'm just too broke to pick it up. It's pretty cheap, and it looks awesome. It's on Steam. Substance Painter. Yeah, I'm getting some weird shit here. So I'm gonna subdivide one more time. Still kind of happening. It might just be performance. Anyway, looking fine. I'll be able to deal with it. So let's go ahead and flood that layer. Alright. Back to layers. Let's hide that one. Let's do edges. By the way, this is going to be much more higher resolution and a little bit more pleasurable to work on than the actual weapon itself. Let's go with a hard fall off here. Jam spacing a little bit tighter. I should be able to get quite a bit more, a bit sharper here. It's just a smaller model and less stuff. So it actually works out pretty good. Now I don't want to make any too many crazy distinguishing factors on this, to show you why in a second. Although there are some tricks I can do to help further break it up. Because remember, look over there, it's painted too. Because I'm sharing UV space, which gives me more resolution. Now there are different styles of doing edging. It's up to you, whichever one you choose. In this case, I'm highlighting the edge. I am not causing damage. If you were causing damage, I'm so terrible at doing horizontal strokes, by the way. If you were causing damage, I'll show you what you would do instead. Bloop, bloop, Skype, Skype. Okay, I'll show you what I mean by causing damage. Causing damage, you use kind of like the UFO approach. I know it doesn't make sense now, but what I mean is you isolate it. And what I do is I tend to start with a thin line and then bulge it in the middle, almost like a UFO in essence. And by UFO, I mean like this kind of UFO. You know? That's kind of the shape that you're going for. If you're doing damage, because this is where it's been hit. So you do them intermittently and only in spots. Okay, but you kind of want it to taper to the edge. Like taper together, and by taper I mean that's one side, that's the other side. So they taper, right? In a curve, but remember I'm not doing that, I'm doing edge highlighting. If you're doing edge highlighting, you just paint the whole thing. It brings the specular out at these corners. Because I'm not sculpting this, I don't care to. I just lose control of my hand whenever I go like horizontally. I can't do it. I can do vertically, no problem. I can do diagonally, no problem. But you give me a horizontal line and I'll show you how an artist fucks everything up. Alright, let's go here. Okay. Again, I want to blend a little bit. Just kind of cut the three triangles off, in a sense, like that. Thicken it a little bit where they meet. So even this is not perfectly horizontal. I have no issues with it. But when it is, I just can't do it. My hand doesn't. I don't diddle that way. I really don't need to do this. I'm only going to go that far. I just going to have something at the bottom. Granted though, if this scope is like sitting on the shelf or something, or in a box, you know, I should do it because it can be seen. Possibly. Now this being a softer curve, I'm going to do the damage style approach. I'm not going to complete it. Okay, I'm just going to suggest it, and in fact I'm going to do that over here too. So I just suggest the start of it. Being that, like I say, it's not like a full corner. But I do taper it out like that is the shape that's going on in all of these. Okay, the other good news is I can just do one of each of these. And they all get done. Every single one of them. Such a beautiful thing. Okay. That's some good edging. Alright, now let's see. I'm not sure how dirty I want the scope itself. Like how banged up do I want the scope itself. I'm really just not sure. So I'm going to soften my brush. And I'm going to do a very... Oh, so I need to see my edge here so I can have a nice guideline to paint along. I'm going to do a more subtle style here. I'm keeping pretty light on my Scrubbing. This one's a little sharper, so I'm going to go a little darker. And by darker, I mean lighter. Okay. I'm actually going to increase my brush size here and kind of do like a almost like a feathering effect, because the idea is that I want to, I'm actually not going to scrub it either. I want it to pick up some glow from the lighting. And just be a little bit more than everything else, so it stands out a hair. But I don't want to go all crazy with it. Again, because I'm kind of uncertain at this point how much like damage do I want to do to the scope itself, because even though yes they get damaged, the user tends to, well, I do anyway, like take special care not to place the gun down on the scope, you know, like not let the scope get hit by stuff. Just watch for your scope. It's like how you see, you know. Alright, I'm going to keep the edges as is now, but what I do need to do is, now this is going to be a like slight bit of a pain in the ass, I'll be honest with everybody. So Control Shift I and then H, and this is going to frickin' suck. So because it's going to suck, I'm going to lower my spacing, and I'm going to kick my strength up so that I don't really have to do all that much like hard pressure. And I'm going to go run down one side first. So I'm not doing all kinds of camera movement. At least not too much. I do better when I sketch it as opposed to when I scribble it, when I opposed to try to keep it like one smooth straight line. I kind of suck at that. That's where the steady stroke comes into effect, and where all the other programs in the world need to have that implemented. Photoshop and Illustrator and even Max and Maya could use that tool. I know ZBrush has one, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think that it works very good. They call it the lazy mouse. Personally, I don't find that it's just clean. I can almost make a perfectly straight line using the steady stroke. I can almost make a good circle with it. I mean, I cannot make like a perfect circle with my hands, you know. I just can't do that. The reason is because I don't freaking need to. If I need a perfect circle, well, hey, I got the computer to do it for me. And before I had the computer, I had those little plastic green cutout sheets of circles, you know. Or I traced a quarter. Alright, I'll do this side now. I'm still gonna have to do, you know, multiple sides. Like I said, this sucks. I hate doing this kind of thing right here. It's tedium. It's boring. It's actually like kind of carpal tunnel inducing, to be honest. It's tiring. See, the thing is, I think that Substance Painter program actually has an automatic weathering system that detects these angles and will apply your material to it. If anybody can check that program out, or has, let me know what you think. Because to me it looks like the greatest solution in the world for this kind of thing. I mean, I was just like, I haven't bought it yet. I don't know those dudes. I'm not endorsing anything. I don't even know how it works in practice. But looking at the videos, I'm like, oh my god, those tools are sweet. You can paint across seams on the 2D layout. The same way I hit Alt-T here, but I can't paint across the seam there. It doesn't know what it lines up to. Substance Painter knows. And then it's also got this weird... oops, I got like 10 minutes left on my frickin' pen tablet before the tip is just worn off completely and it doesn't affect it at all. But it's got particle paint and it looks cool, like interesting, but like I can't really tell what purpose it has, like why I would need that, but it makes interesting results. I don't know, it's almost like it goes into the cracks or something, like as if you were to take like paint and let it stream down your model, like in real life, you know. Not really sure what kinds of effects you can do with that, but it looks cool. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool. I want to try that because maybe it would do some sweet stuff automatically for us. But the one thing that program has is, I believe, and I can't confirm this because I don't know for sure, I think it has an automatic weathering system, which is basically what I'm doing here, right? I've got to paint these edges by hand, and it sucks and it's tiring, and I'm not going to say it's not fulfilling, because it's just perfectly fulfilling and fine, but if I could just be like, click, I would. So I want to try that program. I really, really do. Plus it's making substances which are useful in the engines, even UDK. You know, it's funny because I say even UDK because I don't want to be negative, because I probably sound negative here, but as far as I'm concerned, epic shit on UDK user base. They're just like, whatever dudes, later, you know, we don't care about you no more. And I feel that, you know, like, and that's a bit of a shame. There's a lot of cool stuff going into UE4. There's a lot of absolutely nothing going into UDK anymore. And a lot of us signed on for UDK, you know. We all thought, yeah, you know, Unreal Engine 4 was going to be awesome. But nobody even expected them to release it, so it's nice of them to do that. I'm not crapping on that company or the people there. Those guys are cool. And they know what they're doing, which is a huge bonus. But yeah, it sucks that we've just, you know, the UDK user base has just been ditched. I mean, ditched. Like, I think the forums are dead. I haven't looked. I can't confirm that. Even when you go to the actually, honestly, these edges should go all the way across. When you go to the documentation, it's like, just to let you know, you're looking at the UDK documentation. Are you sure? Because really, you should be using UE4. And you're like, yeah, I'm sure, dude. I know I suck, but I gotta look at this version because it's the only one I got, yo. So yeah, I don't know. It sucks. But Substance works on UDK as well, because it was implemented a long time ago. The speed tree guys don't care about UEK anymore. I guess maybe that makes a little bit more sense, because I don't think that they stood to really make any money off of it. I think they just made a general sum from their license partnership with the Epic team. I don't know how they have, I don't know their deal, you know. I don't work there or anything like that. Can't make clear. I'm just guessing. But it seems to me like it would make sense that they're not really looking to make a whole ton of money off of their licensing the app to the UDK user base. God, this sucks doing this. So it's like it never ends, you know? Every time I look, there's a new edge. And I still have to do the bottom. But yeah, they're not gonna update anything for UDK ever again. Kismet's never gonna get the ability to have arrays, you know, like string arrays or anything, or arrays of anything other than object lists. We'll never have the ability to get the player's view rotation. We'll never have the ability to register a key press. You know, it's like, dude, there's so much missing from UDK, you know. But I guess, you know, it's fine. We do what we can with what we got. I'll keep it going over too far, but it doesn't matter. That's just a scratch right there, right? I know I sound negative. I still like UDK. I do. Oh fuck! Sorry, it's so irritating to have to do this. This is the worst one. I knew it was gonna be too. That was why I remember I was saying, oh, you know, it might be worth it to just dupe these, so I only ever had to paint one of them. But it won't look as good in the end. So hopefully the players can appreciate the fact. Oh look, it's a different shape down the whole thing. You think anybody's gonna care or know about this? Nope. Nobody. I don't even think that you guys watching this are gonna care that I'm doing this, because I half don't care. But it's gotta be done, I suppose. This is gonna suck because it's such a long edge. And I can't really zoom in as close as I'd like. This is really difficult, I'll be honest. My hands are on fire right now. That's why I'm losing kind of control here a little bit. Because it's constant, there's like no break. Even the millisecond breaks help your hand, you know, the muscles kind of recover. But this, I have like literally no break. See, like I can't hit the edge anymore. My hand is like half numb, half burning, half aching. It's fun. I love it. It actually reminds me of drawing, like with the pencil back in the day when I was a kid. My hands used to just cramp up after a while. Couldn't do it anymore. I had to take a break, shake it out, you know. Surprisingly though, I've actually avoided any major, like, permanent damage. As much as I've been constantly drawing and using the mouse and all that, you'd expect my hands to be like Frankenstein's hands or something, but nope, they're alright. Still have control, still have good motor skills. Oh, and now I get to blend it all. I'm not blending it, I'm fucking done, sorry. I'm not mad or anything, I'm just like exhausted. I'll blend the end caps here. But yeah, that you know, like I said, like if there's a program to do this like automatically, because honestly, all I'm doing is visually just detecting the edges and tracing along them with a pretty noisy feel to the whole thing, and there's nothing that I'm doing here that a computer can. I always say, hey, you know, the computers are stupid, but they can do things fast. Stupid things fast. They can do smart things fast too, but they gotta be fed. Alright, that's as far as I can take this with my hand. I'm just dying. Oof. Alright, let's unhide. And let's see, what else do I really want to do to this thing? Let's take a look at the unwrap real quick, because there's There's some things I can do. I think most everything that's left is actually going to be slightly bump map. I do need to do a base specular, so we'll do that. But the thing is that my my main scope is a better metal, if that's a way to put it. Oops. So this thing, whoa, I need some spacing, don't I? And some strength control. This is just gets, you know, it's a little bit more worn. It's more of a standard type metal, whereas the scope itself is like a treated thing. I almost want to say that it's like painted, but it ain't painted. Okay, and given that, what I'm going to do is kill my spacing. I'm actually going to kill the frickin' stamp. And the base on the scope. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that. I'm actually going to erase what I've done on the scope. Okay, and I'll call this scope spec. So that way I can tune it separately from other stuff, and then I'll just paint that in solid too. No real tone on there, okay? It's done on purpose. I want that to just be pretty fluid. I mean, I'm looking at my scope right here, and it's like the metal here is kind of scuffy and dull, and the metal on here is just like pristine. And I have like a bunch of scopes, and they're all exactly the same. The scope metal itself just comes out, it's always so clean. It gets dirt on it, but it's just much. Ah, shit. I didn't swap back to layers. All right. All right, let's go in and kind of hold control here. You know what? I want to go back to my old stamp because I want. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of liking this. I'm going to keep this one. Maybe that way it's. Whoa, what the frick? It's a little softer, you know. It's a little bit softer than the other one I'm using, so it will help kind of distinguish the style of metal. All of this stuff that I'm doing here is just kind of distinguishes the style of metal that we're dealing with. And there's better ways to do this. I mean, you can go get a painting or a picture of metal. Go ahead, do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't do it because I like the hand painted feel, you know. Plus, I like the control that I get. There's nothing wrong with using photos and projecting them. And by nothing wrong, I mean it's actually going to look better if you do that. Trust me. It will. Every time I've been like, you know what, fuck this, I'm just gonna go and get a photo and put it on here. It's like, oh well, that looks done. That looks perfect, you know. I'm actually gonna darken it around here to hopefully make a bit of contrast against the very shiny scope. So, like, you know, while I do this, I don't really have anything to talk about. Oh, great, I'm not done here. I don't know why, like, working on this irritates me when it doesn't really matter. Shrink the brush and then I can press a little harder. Pressing lightly actually can tire you out a little bit more than pressing harder sometimes. Yeah, so how about that new Mad Max movie? I think it looks awesome. According to the reviews, this is a total tangent, I know, sorry. There's nothing to talk about while I'm doing this. This is boring as shit. Um, the movie has minimal dialogue and uses all practical effects. And according to what I'm seeing, I'm only guessing here, it's going to be gory, like really gory and violent. So it pretty much covers all the bases that I like. Anyways, I love movies where there's not a lot of talking. I dig them. I really enjoyed The Book of Eli. Really enjoyed Wall-E. I thought that was a great movie because it told a story without being like, and here we have the world. Man has destroyed the world. It didn't have to do that. You just knew it just by looking at it. You know, it was nice. I love it. I love that kind of thing. So if they can pull that off in movies, and I like to do that in games too. That's it actually does kind of relate to what I'm doing here because my game has almost no dialogue in it whatsoever. It's all told visually. The rats do not speak, they squeak. Oh, I did not mean to rhyme that, but oh well. That's what they do, they squeak, and they don't speak. So whenever you get like an order or something, it's just like squeak. Alright, I think that's alright for a base spec layer. I think anyway, I don't know. Yeah. I always say that and then it always turns out fine. I have no confidence whenever I'm doing anything. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. But it tends to, so just keep going. Keep on going. Alright. So, I am actually going to separate into different channels. Move that into specular. I'm going to duplicate this and move that to specular. Just going to move that to specular. And the edges, I'm actually going to duplicate and move that to specular. I keep missing it. Okay. So that way what I can do here is if I hide the edge, if I hide the specular, I can take this and I can just tone it down so that I've actually changed the color of the metal. You see what I'm saying? Like it's in the diffuse. Like if I look at it with flat lighting, it's in the diffuse. Okay, combined with specular. Okay, you can see it works. It works good. You get a nice hot highlight. Now the base spec is a little bright, so I'm actually going to turn it down just a little bit, and that helps the edges stand out from that base speck. Alright, and then let's go ahead and do our famous scratches. So I hit 2, go to stencil, make sure I'm on scratches. Let's tile her up and just start slapping it down. Okay, and then what I can do is I can tile this a lot more and use it to sort of... Some of this stuff got really badly broken right here where it wanted to stretch really badly, so I'm going to manually fix that by just erasing and putting it back down. Some of these streaks, I mean, they can stay. It's just noise and break up. That's all I'm worried about, breaking it up. I mean, I could go in and like take a photo of this kind of object and then really try to match exactly those details and scratches and be like, there's a scratch here that goes from here to here, you know. But come on, dude. Like, it's scratching, you know, doesn't matter. It's not lazy, it's what matters, you know. It's important. So you do what matters. I was, you know, there's so much like to 3D art and it's come so long, so far. It's, like I say, you got these new tools that are possibly coming out, like the, like I said, that substance painter, man, that thing looks cool. I'm going to just do scope scratches as a completely separate layer because I may or may not want to blend this in and out. I'm entirely unsure that I want to do this yet, but I'm going to do it anyway because it doesn't have to interfere so much with all the other stuff. Let me actually select the scope and isolate it. Control Shift I and then H. And when, you know, it's like when you watch movies these days, it's like, wow, God, that looks so much better than, you know, like what they used to look like. You compare the visual quality of Toy Story 2 to Toy Story 3, it's ridiculous. And you compare that to, you know, whatever the newest thing that they're going to come out with. And it's actually a big leap. Like, whoa, it looks way better. Look at that, what they can do. One of those, I saw a movie that was, oh my God, was it impressive. I don't want to say it was a great movie, but it wasn't horrible. It's on Netflix, and it's new. It's called Harlock Space Pirate. Now, don't laugh. It's a Japanese anime. Don't hate me for liking anime. I don't actually really like anime that much. But this movie is more akin to like the Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Like, not the story or anything like that, but high quality 3D rendering. Okay, and Final Fantasy Spirits Within was high quality 3D rendering back in the day. That was like some really like impressive stuff in terms of like when it came out. I mean, they had a lot of cool lighting effects and a lot of good stuff going on. So this when I'm talking about this space pirate Harlock movie, I don't even know what it's based on. It's some anime or manga or whatever you want to call it, but it has some of the most impressive rendering I have ever seen. Uh, like ever. To be honest, it's pretty good. It's newer, you know, so it makes sense. I think the one of the movies that probably impressed me on this level before that was actually yeah, you're gonna laugh at me on this one, and I admit I'm a total. I don't mean this derogatory, but yeah, I'm a fag for liking this one. Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, I know, I can't help it. I didn't like the movie, okay? I'm not like a little girl, but man, they did a good job on the rendering. Like the clay and the grass and the water and the lighting. Come on, guys, that's awesome. You know, you got to appreciate that kind of thing. If you're doing this and you don't appreciate that kind of thing, then what's wrong with you? You know, not me. I'm not the fucking weirdo here. You are really. All right, so like I went absolutely balls out on this thing. I just spackled it basically. So, but the cool thing is that I can just, like I said, I can take it and just make that real subtle, you know? And it does, it adds stuff to it. It helps. Now, the original scratches layer got accidentally blasted on here in parts that I don't want. So I just want to make sure that that doesn't show up. And if I hit unhide, okay. And like I said, this is just gonna be like stain. It's not gonna affect the lighting either. Okay, it's like a stain. And it's only, and I'm only adding it. I'm even gonna lessen it. I'm only adding it because I feel like I can't just leave it just black, you know. I gotta add at least something. But I will have some bump maps going on, so we'll see about that. I'm gonna end this part here. I'm not gonna get to the bullet. Apologize. Let's see. Scratches needs to be duplicated. And move to specular. And then scratches itself needs to be dropped back. Okay, so without specular, we have some detail. Without either of these, we have nothing, right? We just have solid black, but as soon as I throw specular in, okay, we're looking at some detail. Okay, but the scope itself, there's nothing in the specular. Okay. Now the edges, I'm actually going to bring the edges to the front so that they shine brightest. The scratches on this layer, I'm actually going to tone down in the specular quite a bit, and I'm going to tone them down here as well. So they're a little more subtle. Okay. Almost stains. And I'm going to go ahead and end this part here. When I come back, we'll do some decals and we'll work on the bump map. To hopefully maybe get like some ridging or something, like some perforation for grip, because you can turn this or whatever or not. But you mean technically you wouldn't be able to turn this because there's like no options on here. But a lot of scopes have that kind of thing. And I have made other scopes that are like really complicated. They got wires and switches and little brackets and braces and dials and knobs and stuff all over them. You know, if that's the kind of scope you're going to make, then make that one. You know, this one is supposed to be basic and like non invasive to anything. So it's actually supposed to just kind of be there, you know. So hit pause signing off. Thanks for watching.